I dated this wonderful woman. She was a therapist. She had so much love in her heart. I called her a shepherd of women. She worked with abused women. Biggest heart that I could freaking imagine. Really smart. Really smart. But she was kind of taken over by the woke mind virus. And you can tell really quickly because if you're taken over, then you think that all racism is institutionalized and it's impossible for a black person to be racist against an Asian person. This is true. A lot of these women are educated at McMaster's, and it legitimately seems like they pick up a little bit of a woke mind virus from post-secondary. Now, if anyone knew me from high school, they knew I was always hanging around with these two girls, and one was a goth, and one was a goth and one was a hippie. We were in love, absolute love. These girls went off to post-secondary. I think went off to the universities in the cities. I'm in the small town. There was a big thing. Everyone in the small town was supposed to go to the cities or the university. It seemed like everything was right there. And as soon as they got there, it was almost as if they got devoured by a woke mind virus. Now, I didn't even want to attach the name to it until Musk brought this out. I realized that currently I have a hatred in my heart for TikTok, the same way that I found out Musk has a hatred for Twitter or X because he himself is angry at the woke mind virus for taking his daughter from him. I gotta say, if anything takes my daughter from me, I will throw all my money at ending it. So first up, let's talk about the opium of sympathy. Sympathy, or the opiate of the masses. Opium is very important in all of this. It calms us down, it sedates us so that we don't fight. It's what the English used against the Chinese to make the Chinese sell the tea when the Chinese didn't want anything to do with it. Yeah, you don't want to sell us your tea, we're just going to destroy your lives and all this damage with. I'm sorry, I've made other videos about that. I can't get over that. So let's say in the 80s, all of a sudden entertainment exploded. All of a sudden, like me myself, I have this issue with I can think about things, but if I start saying really difficult things, like I might just start like break down and crying. Like I kind of continue talking about it. It's like my mind can take it, my frame can't. I don't know, but anyways, back in the day in the 80s, there was a lot of media that would hit you pretty hard with heavy stuff. And if it was heavy, oh, you wanted to watch that? Oh, the drama. Oh, what happens on Days of Our Lives? And you get people glued into that drama, just glued, particularly women glued into that drama. Yeah, I can say that. Catch me on that. Soap operas were for stay-at-home wives. I can say that. I can say that. Definitely. And if the people who were playing these soap operas had interest in manipulating people's minds for one way or another, they could. They didn't, but they could. Like, of course, they would sell soap. That's why they're called soap operas. They were trying to sell soap. They had a product. They had a thing there. Religion, Scientology, Christianity, they have a product, but you get some Christians that they just want best for they just want what's best for the world. You get some churches that don't want what's best for the world. I am not touching mega churches, not touching those ones. But I can tell you, I've been to 10 churches and I've seen one that legitimately they will know you're a Christian by your love, they said, and it's absolutely there. And I hope that they can make up for the damage that the 5 really bad ones do. We're not getting into that. But anyways, what I'm noticing is that we get religions that will take over us because it's the easiest way to take over our minds, and we know that. We know that. We know that. Like paganism is not known for doing it, right? Bad Christians are known for doing it because we have Christians everywhere. We have Christians everywhere. There are absolutely Muslim groups that like to be Muslims for control. Not all of them, but a few of them. Saying religions have a bad way of taking over people's mind. L. Ron Hubbard figured this out. He made Scientology, all right? I got the framework for that. We know that people take over people's minds with religion. And with the soap operas, we know that we could take over people's minds with media. All that we had to do was make a proper kind of story that had a proper kind of outcome. I think it's called a psyop. But legitimately, we could do it. And I legitimately watched in like one bad church that I went to in my youth, I watched in horror as it took normal people and suddenly filled them with hate and fear against pagans by making them think that all pagans sacrifice black cats and hurt kids in seances where the kids get sacrificed. I'm just like the worst you could think of. We were way too young to hear this stuff. I didn't even know what a sacrifice was at the time. Like it got a lot worse. I don't want to go there. I don't. I used to go there all the time. Talk about. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. But they said some really horrible things, a lot of shocking things. And man, that guy was removed. By the way, he was messed up. He was removed. He had a heart full of love, but he was hurt. And now here's the thing that most TikTokers and everyone don't know. If you legitimately follow religion, you're going to find that we have cycles of abuse, right? Women forgive women for cycles of abuse. We're not getting anywhere near approaching forgiving men for cycles of abuse, but there's definitely abuse cycles and they need to be broken. There is no greater evil than the love for money. And now, if we throw in a third thing here that's really dangerous, we got destruction for society. The fact that men can't argue with women. Before the woke mob was a thing, I remember hearing a clinical psychologist. And here's the thing, I can't even say the psychologist's name. If I say this, people are going to get really divisive and act like they know psychology and like the universe better than anybody else. I can't get over how much these woke people think they understand everything. It used to be that woke was being objective, but now it's being subjective. But if you're subjective, then you are subjective to bad ideas. The internet has opened up the world much further, and bad people from across the globe have the ability to reach in and do things. In the 80s, we didn't want to think that Uncle Hank had the ability to touch Bobby or Jessica. I'm sorry, I'm not trying. You know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to. Anyways. And then we figured out priests do that stuff too, and then like our minds got broken. Whoa, this stuff's possible? People actually do this? We had to train each other. We had to train our children in order to tell our parents. Like I remember in the 80s being told, look, if someone, then you have to keep telling your parents. They won't believe you. Keep telling them. Keep telling them. That's the thing. You really gotta keep at it because there's things that are unconscionable out there that we just can't understand, that in our day-to-day life we don't want to talk about. If we talk about these things, it upsets people. I have literally talked about some of the things because I was worried a little girl was going to get raped. Trust me, it was a very reasonable thing. And I was like, look, Mom, there are horrible things out there that are going to eat your daughter. And these signs that I'm seeing that are very real are worth worrying about. And she was like, you're not allowed to have those feelings. The fact that you have those feelings mean you're abusive. I'm like, bet. Bet. And then she got so worried. Like, I was so upset about this that she ended up calling the police. And the police come over and they're like, don't ever, just don't talk to her. Just don't talk to her. And I was like, and I looked at them, I was like, I'm worried about this guy. This is the situation. And they understood. And just that woman is in an asylum now. Okay, so I want you guys to understand that all of this is meaningful because you get preachers that are messed up. You get family that is messed up. We didn't want to think about this stuff. It was unconscionable. We didn't want to believe any of it. And it came at us like a horror in the night. And then we all fall back on being victims. And being victims is the big thing. You can't get ahead anywhere unless you're a victim now. Legitimately, it's freaking Victim Olympics. Now, the SJWs have put Victim Olympics in absolutely everything. But the thing is, the Victim Olympics only work for women. Like, if a guy says, I have a learning disability, they don't get anything. If a woman says they have this, that, or the other thing, white knights are coming out of the woodwork everywhere to help them out. Legitimately, I can't tell you how fine I was with everything until I became a father and then I needed to lean on society for a little bit of help. They tore me asunder. Reddit told my ex-wife to leave me because I didn't do all of the dishes. Reddit told my wife to leave me because I didn't do the dishes. her way. Sometimes I would fill the dishwasher up and just have it run and not clean the counter and not clean the stove. They told her to leave me. They told her I was abusive and that she should leave me. All from that. All from that one little thing. Okay, now here's the thing. Within religions are communities. I'm sorry. Religions are community, and then you get the shaman at the top, the father, the pastor, whatever. He leads people. When there are problems, that leader communicates with sects. But that leader is kind of chosen by the masses. He's not the popular one. He's not like he's not they're not popular. But what we have had in the last 5 to 10 years is people on social media getting power by destroying some of the power that does exist, and there was bad stuff. Epstein, Weinstein, P. Diddy, but they're using it to destroy everything. They're using it to destroy relationships and people that have nothing to do with any of this. I mean, what do I have to do with Epstein and Weinstein and P. Diddy? Legitimately. The stars that these women worship have more to do with any of these people than Epstein, Weinstein, or than I do. I legitimately am blamed. Nevin is blamed for Epstein, Weinstein, P. Diddy. Did I have the ability to do any of those things? No. Meanwhile, the artists these women are listening to legitimately did things like they knew exactly what was going on at P. Diddy's place. They were part of the parties. There was one guy who was like the best of all of them, who just really sticks out in my mind. Like P. Diddy loved this. How do you love someone and then knock them out, take advantage of them, and then show video to other people? Like that's beyond unconscionable. That's beyond unconscionable. Now at this point, maybe I'm a little objective, but there's like, no, I'm not in that universe. I would. I'm sorry, I would have to do something. I'd have to have difficult words with P. Diddy, maybe end up going missing altogether. But legitimately, when I joined Project Chanology, I seen a lot of shit that shouldn't have happened. First with Scientology, then with Anna, and then we frickin' dealt with it. Now here's the thing. Why am I getting shit for the shit that P. Diddy did? Now we got this woke mob that loves entertainment, and everyone in this woke mob could tell you how all these rappers and how all these artists and politicians deal with everyone. But they can't tell me what I have to deal with all of it other than my skin is white and all of that. So we have a social issue. We have a social hierarchy now where our leaders are simply leaders because we think socially they should be. Now, while these leaders are going down one after another, our society is also going down as our society decides to follow these leaders, take their bad advice, and go straight into the shitter with the entire family. Because nobody wants to check influencers on their bad ideas. We all know TikTok is bad ideas. 50% of the mental health advice given by TikTokers are dangerous. Dangerous. That's what the professionals say. Now, the TikTokers who follow all of this stuff, some who are professionals, will say those professionals don't know anything because they'll always, like, legitimately. Man, I've had so many debates with professionals saying that none of our medication works because everything was tested exclusively on men. They're just anarchists. They're like, none of anything works because everything was tested by men, and all white men, especially ones that I don't particularly find attractive, are so just like legitimately. So if a pastor saw a problem, he'd be in the middle and he'd look around. He'd be like, okay. This is what we got to do. And then you get pastors that just had nuance in their stories, and they would tell you about, oh man, okay, so there's this one good church. It was like everyone else was intrinsically just different. They weren't jerks. They were just different and open-hearted, kind of like the South Park says the Mormons are, but you just wouldn't know it. Anyways, they would go to church, and there were situations going on. There might have been 200 people, and there were situations going on where a man and a woman would have an issue, and the man would be addicted to pornography, let's say, and the woman would be addicted to harlequin romance, and the pastor would deal with this, and then tell the flock what was learned, giving names, giving all information, and nobody had a problem with this. Nobody. This wasn't doxing. These are the issues we're running into, and the learning experience in this particular church. And the thing was, it was like once a month the same story would come up. Harlequin romance is the same as pornography. Okay, it is the same thing. Women like written things, men like visual things. Visual things is always going to be worse. I could write the most. You could put the biggest smut on a piece of paper and people would be like, it's a book. This immediately is intelligent. Yes, no, yes. You know what's really interesting? Whenever, like, I like porn. I love porn. I love erotica. And when I talk to women about it, you can tell when they are. You can be like, I like lit erotica, literotica.com. The great place for if you want to, steamy stuff, lit erotica. If you want a girl that's really into the erotic stuff and you kind of want to, you can mention that place. And yeah, then you'll know. Then you'll know. But, anyways, there are bad ideas going through TikTok, YouTube, all of these places. There are so many life coaches that are giving really bad information on all platforms. On all platforms. My squad got wiped. Everyone in my squad got wiped by. Oh, geez, this is heartbreaking. This can't be related. Okay, okay. My squad got wiped. Everyone in my squad got divorced. Okay, let's say 5 in my divorce. Red got divorced. So I got divorced because of TikTok. I'm blue. Red got divorced because of Reddit. Brown got divorced because TikTok, Shatter, and the fact that they couldn't get a home. But the fact that they couldn't get a home does not excuse what she said to her daughter. There's just some things. And okay, now within Brown, we got to talk about Brown. His wife had no responsibility. Just kept having kids, kept having kids. Eventually, they couldn't have a house. They moved to a shelter, and there was a flashpoint, an explosion. And she said to her kid, I should send you to your father, but your father doesn't want you either. And traumatized this beautiful child so much that she almost went catatonic, just in the back of the van, would not say anything. I never, like, you can, like, when you, some horse people say you have to break a horse's spirit, you have to break an animal's spirit in order to, just don't, can you raise kids without doing that? I hope you can, but why? But the thing is, there's no accountability for the woman. There was in this case because it happened in a shelter. If it didn't happen in a shelter, it would have been different. If it didn't have it in a shelter, Brown would probably still be with her. That, oh, fuck. Anyways, Rainbow. Rainbow legitimately married a narcissist who once again, accountability absolutely needs to be a thing. She got mad at him while he was holding the kid, and she absolutely decked him. Not just one. Like, he was holding the kid, 1, 2, 3, 4, like, until her arms got tired. Legitimately. Wow. He was holding the kid. Now, if this was the other way around, if he did that to her, I would personally, with the group wouldn't, nobody would even hear the story. The group he would have just disappeared. Rainbow would have disappeared. We would have dealt with it. We would have dealt with it. But, like, the fact that women can get away with this, the fact that women can get away with, like, damn near anything because of all of this bad stuff that has happened. And it's reasonable to say that there are too many women that have gotten on this woke thing, that have gotten too far with it, that don't realize how hard it is to actually frickin' work and go out and do these things. My relationship with my ex was taken down by a woman named TikTok Tabs that gave bad ideas, who has been deleted from TikTok. Now, there's been a lot of TikTokers, a lot of social media influencers that have given bad ideas to women that have put the whole family into a bad situation, particularly with bad women who want extra, extra, extra money. Now, let's say in Canada, we want extra, we want to give people extra money here. I want women to be given extra money, but there are horrors that women, there are horrors in women's heart that we don't want to admit right now. But like, let me tell you about one of them. My ex wanted me to kill myself so that she didn't have to deal with me, but she could get all the money for the kids, legitimately. And she knows this because a sister, basically a sister, um, that's one of those things. I have a hard time talking about it now. Her sister, um, it happened. It happened. And I think she pushed him. And she gave me the dollar amount. That's always going to haunt me. The woman who asked me to marry her gave me the dollar amount. Now I step back and I'm like, whoa, that happened. And this can like like every now and then within a relationship you wake up and you're like, oh, like if you ever watch The Grudge, we found out about family annihilators and we're like, whoa, right? That wasn't new to me. That happened in my community. Now everyone says it's the man that does it, and if you look into it, it's 60% the men, and it's mostly the men. 60%, 40% the woman. Women are capable of evil. Women are capable of hurting. If you hurt a family, that makes generational trauma. But we're in a situation now where feminists only want what's best for them. They're not worried about the family, or if they're worried about the family, they're worried about the woman and the child. But they're not worried about what would happen if a child grew up without a father. And that is very much a thing. If a child grows up without a father, it can turn murderous when society has to put them on the right path. And the mom just gets sad again when there are too many influencers on TikTok right now. There are too many influencers on social media that act like they know everything. But they don't. And people listen to them because they want to be cool. And then they end up with nothing but a huge body count, a list of ex-STDs, and on and off coke addictions. Legitimately. Legitimately. Like, we don't want to talk about these things, but like once you hit a body count of over 100, something happens to you. You're not. Once you reach a certain age, like your nails start growing out a little bit. It's weird. Your hair starts growing out a little bit. Once you start gaining certain numbers, you start becoming a bit of a monster. Once you start getting a certain, legitimately from, like, I love loose women, but it seems like when you get women who are so loose, they legitimately, it's not as nice as an experience. Am I allowed to tell my truth? No, that's interesting. Let's try something. I want to see if this video gets banned. I like loose women. And many of them that I've made love to, it feels like there's a plastic bag that I'm moving as I go back and forth. And sometimes there's hard things in there, it feels like. That's my truth with betting women with over 100 body counts. There's hardness in there, and the whole thing flops back and forth. Like there's things with guys, they don't get it up, right? We can talk about that. We can laugh at them all day long, right? He can't get it up. He can't get it up. Okay, so you have the responsibility to get it up, right? You have the responsibility not to have a bag that's like calcified and hardened. Like same. You want the same? I want the same. I'm third wave feminist. I swear to God, I used to be progressive, and everyone says I'm like right in the middle stream right now. We have too many shamans on social media, and they're going to tear us apart. Too many people giving bad information that hasn't been tested. But what really pisses me off is these women that are giving this advice to other women. Don't get married. They themselves don't get married. So it's as if they're giving information It's as if they're giving information for women who want their life. But those life coaches, I'm sorry, I'm going to focus in on one that gave the truest information. She was a woman that turned lesbian, and then she dated a lesbian, and then she had a falling out. And then you find out pretty quickly the type of messed up stuff that women do. They will take this and make it this and then give it to their friends. Their friends won't check any of it, ever. Any of it. They'll be like, oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. But now these women who are life coaches and these women that have gone through certain experiences, these victims, there is a percentage of them that are coming out and saying that I was never actually raped. I was never actually raped. I was giving bad advice. Okay, so yeah, I was never actually raped. That never actually happened. I did it because of series of abuse. But it seems like when they're saying this, they're trying to like, I'm better than I was. I'm better than it. Society shouldn't have been this, that, or the other thing. What it should have been is like, oh my God, I've destroyed lives. Oh my God, well, I've destroyed lives. How could I do that? But no, it's like, today I'm Chantel, and that's not her name. I'm Chantel, and I'm gonna do this video about how I've overcome the evilness of my old self, which is my old self, and I absolved myself of all of that, and I'm better than that, and I will not be held down by the negative, the responsibility, the destruction I might have caused with this. Like, you don't get that. You don't get that, and that's what freaking shocks me. It freaking shocks me. It's like they're all like, I did this, I did it first, and I shouldn't have. Now here's my story, now buy my book. I can't tell you how many charlatans are out over social media. I guess the same as a bad church. We haven't figured out how to spot a bad content creator with bad information because we think that all women are right all the time, and the more abuse that you sustain means the more information that you have and the more intelligent you are because you are abused. Wow. Okay, that's how it is. Man, I gotta go jump on that Victim Olympics stuff. Like, I knew a little bit about that, but maybe we're going to evolve from this soon. But it literally seems like in social media, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to be taken advantage of. You have to be hurt. Unless you're edgy. If you're not edgy, then you're hurt. Unless you legitimately have some information and you're a kind Indian that has all kinds of proper information. Man. TikTok and the woke mind infiltration. Let's see if we can harden our minds. We need to harden our minds to this woke mind infiltration. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Net from Nestech. That's like and subscribe if you like the stuff. Always appreciate it. But more importantly in all of this stuff, love each other. Try to get along. We don't need to hurt each other. We don't need to mess with each other. Love each other. Have a good one, folks. Take care of each other.